The envelope is on the kitchen counter. Plain white, no return address, postmarked from a city you have never visited. Inside is a photograph, a name typed in courier font, and a number with 6 zeros. You pour your coffee. You read the name once. You fold the paper back into the envelope and slide it under your laptop. Then you finish your breakfast. That is how it starts, not with a dramatic phone call, not with a meeting in a parking garage at 2 in the morning. Just a photograph, a name, and a number. And the fact that your hands do not shake when you pick up the fork. That is the thing nobody tells you about this life. It is not what you do that separates you from everyone else. It is what you do not feel while you do it. Level 1. The first job. You are 23 years old. You are living in a studio apartment in Bridgeport, Connecticut. The carpet smells like the previous tenant's cigarettes, no matter how many times you vacuum. The radiator clicks every 47 seconds. You know because you have counted. Counting is something you do now. It calms the part of your brain that never fully turns off. Your first job comes through a middleman named Carver. You will never meet Carver in person. You communicate through a dead-drop email account, logging in from a public library computer on Broad Street, writing drafts that you save but never send. Carver reads them. Carver responds. You delete everything and walk out past the children's section, past the picture books, past a mother reading to a toddler on a beanbag chair. The target is a mid-level loan shark operating out of a bar in Waterbury. He owes somebody something. That is not your problem. Your problem is logistics. You spend 9 days on surveillance. You learn that he parks in the same spot every Tuesday and Thursday. You learn that he drinks Jameson neat, 3 glasses, always the same bartender, always between 9 and 11 at night. You learn that the alley behind the bar has a broken security camera that nobody has bothered to fix for at least 6 months, based on the layer of grime on the housing. The job pays $8,000. Cash in a gym bag left in a locker at Union Station in New Haven. The locker number is written in pencil on the inside of a matchbook from a restaurant that closed in 2011. You do the job. You walk back to your car, a 2007 Honda Civic with 112,000 miles on it, and you drive 40 miles home at exactly 65 miles per hour. Not 66, not 64, 65. You stop at a Wawa and buy a bottle of water and a pack of Trident spearmint gum. The cashier says, "Have a good night." You say, "You too." You get home. You take off your shoes at the door. You eat leftover rice from the fridge, cold, standing at the counter. You do not sleep until 4 in the morning, not from guilt, but because your brain is still running the debrief on a loop, cataloging everything that could have gone differently. Nothing went differently. That is the point. $8,000 for 9 days of work. You think about this while you lie on your back in the dark. You think about what your father made in a month at the warehouse. You think about the mortgage on the house you grew up in, the one the bank took in 2008. You do not feel proud. You do not feel sick. You feel like a carpenter who just finished installing a cabinet and noticed one of the screws is slightly crooked. Not enough to matter, but enough to remember. Level 2, the first contract. 18 months later, you are in a different city. You are in Baltimore now, a 1-bedroom in Fells Point, hardwood floors that creak in a pattern you have memorized so you can move through the apartment in the dark without making a sound. Old habit. Useful habit. Carver is not your only contact anymore. There is someone new, someone with a different email structure and a different protocol, someone who sends jobs with higher price tags and tighter windows. You are learning the difference between a job and a contract. A job is reactive. Someone needs a problem solved, and they find the nearest person who can solve it. A contract is deliberate. It means someone has been watching you. It means someone decided you specifically were worth the risk. Your first contract is $45,000. The target is a corporate attorney in Washington, D.C. The client is never identified. The brief is surgical, meaning no collateral, no spectacle, nothing that reads as anything other than natural or accidental. Natural or accidental means you have to get close. Close means you spend 3 weeks becoming a person who belongs in his world. You rent a car, a 2024 BMW 5 Series in graphite gray. You get a haircut at a barbershop in DuPont Circle that charges $85 and does not rush. You buy 2 sport coats from a consignment shop in Georgetown and have them tailored for $50 each by a Vietnamese seamstress on Pennsylvania Avenue, who does not ask why you want the right shoulder seam reinforced. You walk into the same restaurant in Chevy Chase, Maryland, where the attorney has lunch every Thursday, a place called the Occidental, linen napkins, a wine list that starts at $60 a bottle. You sit at the bar. You order the chicken, which is $32, and comes with fingerling potatoes you do not eat. You learn he is allergic to shellfish, severely allergic. You learn he carries an EpiPen in his jacket pocket, but not his briefcase. You learn he drinks 1 glass of Sancerre with lunch and always allows the sommelier to recommend. The rest is chemistry, not metaphorical chemistry, actual chemistry. A compound that mimics the protein chain in shellfish antigens, dissolved in something he will not taste because the thing he is tasting will be too loud. A sauce, a vinaigrette, something with acid that drowns out everything underneath. $45,000. The medical examiner rules it anaphylactic shock. Tragic. A man who watched what he ate his whole life. You drive back to Baltimore on I-95. It is raining. You have the heat on 68 degrees Fahrenheit. You are listening to a podcast about the history of the Roman aqueduct system, and you are genuinely interested in it. That is the first time you realize something has changed. Not what you are willing to do, what you are willing to feel while you do it. Nothing. Perfectly, cleanly, nothing. Level 3, protected targets. You are 27. You have moved 4 times in 2 years. You do not use your real name for anything that does not require biometric verification. You have 3 phones. One for what remains of your civilian life, a gym membership, a dentist in Philadelphia you see twice a year, a streaming subscription. One for work communications. One that you have never turned on and will not until you need to disappear. The work is different now. The clients are different. You are not solving problems for loan sharks or personal grudges anymore. You are operating in a space where the targets have security, drivers, advanced teams, schedules that change, people who have thought about the possibility of being targets. This is where most people fail, not because they lack skill, because they cannot hold 2 realities in their head at once. The reality of who the target is, a human being with a routine and a family and a favorite seat at a restaurant, and the reality of what the target represents, a variable in someone else's equation that needs to be resolved. You have no problem holding both. That is not a boast, it is a diagnosis. You take a job in Miami. The target is a logistics executive tied to a port operation, moving things that are not declared on manifests. He lives in Coral Gables, a 4,000 square foot house behind a gate with a code that rotates weekly. He has a driver and a personal assistant who doubles as a physical security layer. He does not travel without at least one other person within 30 feet. You do not go near the house. You do not go near his office, a glass building in Brickell with its own security desk. You go near his daughter's soccer practice. Not the daughter. That is not what you are. You go near the park because the executive himself comes to every Saturday practice. No driver, no assistant, just a father in a Patagonia pullover with a travel coffee mug and his hands in his pockets, watching a 10-year-old girl kick a ball down a field. It takes 3 Saturdays to find the pattern. He parks on the same block of Alhambra Circle. He stops at the same Cuban coffee window on Ponce de Leon Boulevard on the way. He stays for the full 90 minutes, regardless of weather. He checks his phone twice, never more. He is present in a way he probably is not anywhere else. The job happens at the coffee window. Quick, clean, a substance transferred through contact with the paper cup sleeve. Not immediate. He will drive home. He will feel fine. He will feel tired at dinner. He will go to bed early. His assistant will find him at 6:45 in the morning. You are on a flight to Dallas at 7 the following morning. The seat is 23A, a window. Below you, Florida looks like a green and blue map, flat and enormous and fading into the Gulf. You eat the pretzels they hand you in a small foil bag. They are stale. You eat them anyway. The contract pays $120,000. You have a savings account under a name that does not belong to you, with $430,000 in it. You have 2 properties, one in Asheville, North Carolina, purchased through an LLC registered in Delaware, and one in Lisbon, Portugal, purchased through a structure so many layers deep that even a forensic accountant with 6 months would lose the thread. None of this makes you feel safe. Safety is not the point. The point is options. Options are the only luxury that actually matters. Level 4. Institutional clients. You are 31. You have not spoken to your mother in 2 years. Not because of a fight, but because every conversation is a liability now. Not for you, for her. If someone ever wanted to find a pressure point, she would be it. Distance is protection. You tell yourself this when you wake up at 3 in the morning, and the silence in your apartment is a physical thing, like a weight on your sternum. You are in London for a month. A flat in Marylebone, 2nd floor. A view of a street where people walk dogs in the morning, and sometimes someone stops to let a child pet it. You watch this from the window while you drink your coffee, which you make in a French press because hotel coffee tastes like hot water filtered through cardboard. The target is a former intelligence official connected to a network operating between Eastern Europe and the Gulf. The client is a government entity you will never be able to prove exists. The fee is $350,000, paid through a cryptocurrency structure that a contact in Zurich manages for a 3% fee. This is the job that teaches you what patience actually costs. The target is careful. He moves like someone who has spent his whole career thinking about threats. He varies his routes. He does not use the same restaurant twice in a week. He travels with 2 former Special Forces operators who are not decorative. You spend 3 weeks doing nothing that would look like surveillance. You go to museums. You eat at places he would never go. A ramen spot on Wardour Street, a Lebanese place in Edgware Road, a breakfast cafe near Paddington that opens at 5:30 in the morning and smells like bacon fat and old wood. You read. You run 6 miles every morning through Regent's Park. You build the map slowly, not of him, of the world around him, the gaps, the moments where the security layer thins because humans cannot maintain maximum vigilance for more than about 90 minutes at a stretch before their attention starts to drift. It is a Tuesday evening. He is at a private club in St. James's. His security is outside. He is inside, at a corner table, with a man you do not recognize and will not try to identify. They are there for 2 hours. When he comes out, he has had enough to drink that his gait is slightly altered. Nothing dramatic, just a weight shift. His security falls in around him, but he stops to light a cigarette, and in the moment he stops, the geometry of the 3 of them shifts. That is the gap. 3 seconds. That is all it is. You are not in the vicinity. What you did 40 minutes before he came out, to something he will not interact with until he is home, until he is alone, until the security is in the car downstairs and he is in the bathroom running water. You are already on the Eurostar to Paris when it happens. Paris in February is gray and cold and smells like diesel and bread. You check into a hotel near the Marais, under a name that does not exist, and order room service, a croque monsieur and a glass of Bordeaux, and you watch a French detective series on television where the detective always solves the case and the guilty are always clearly guilty. You fall asleep before the episode ends. $350,000. You do not feel powerful. You feel tired in a way that sleep does not fix. Level 5, the top. You are 34. You do not advertise. You do not have a reputation in the way that movies imagine it. Whispered names in dark rooms, a file passed between agencies. Your reputation exists only as an absence, a pattern of unsolved cases in cities that do not share jurisdiction, a signature that is the absence of signature. The clients who can reach you have already filtered themselves. They are not emotional. They are not impulsive. They are institutional, meaning the decision to use you has gone through multiple layers of deliberation, and the people who made it will never be in the same room as you. You receive a brief in Tokyo. You are staying in a hotel in Shinjuku, a room on the 31st floor, floor-to-ceiling glass, the city spreading out below you in every direction. 26 million people lit up in the dark. You have been here for a week, doing nothing related to work, eating ramen in tiny shops with 8 seats, walking through Yoyogi Park in the mornings, buying a ceramic cup from a shop in Yanaka that the owner wraps in 12 layers of paper as if it contains something precious. The brief is the most complex you have ever received. 3 individuals, different countries, different timelines, coordinated outcomes. Not simultaneous, sequential. Each one triggering a chain of events that produces a specific result in a specific market at a specific time. You are not solving a personal problem for a client. You are a variable in something macroeconomic. You sit at the window of your hotel room and you look at the city for a long time. You think about a conversation you had once, years ago, with a professor in a community college philosophy class you took for no reason other than the schedule fit. He was talking about moral philosophy, about the distinction between being the cause of something and being the instrument of something. He was using a trolley problem. He had no idea the person in the third row was going to spend the next decade becoming the most efficient instrument on 3 continents. You take the job. The fee is $1.2 million. The first target is in Singapore, a financial regulator, clean, fast, textbook. You are on the ground for 72 hours. You do not eat at a single restaurant twice. The job happens at a fitness center in a high-rise in the Marina Bay area. A substance introduced to the water in the recovery pool. Delayed reaction. You are back in Narita Airport eating a bowl of udon in Terminal 2 when the news breaks. The second target is in Frankfurt, more complex, more layers. A man who lives like he expects to be a target. Gated community in Sachsenhausen, armored vehicle. A diet so controlled by his personal physician that introducing anything through food is almost impossible. Almost. You spend 2 weeks in Frankfurt in November. It is cold, 31 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind off the Rhine cuts through everything. You drink hot coffee from a paper cup outside a Christmas market on the Romerberg, and you watch people buy bratwurst and ornaments and move through the lights with their children, and you feel absolutely nothing about any of it. The gap this time is his physician. The man trusts his physician completely, which means the physician's office, its supply chain, the products that flow through it without being opened by the man himself. They are the vector. You do not compromise the physician. You compromise a specific product. One product, one lot number, one point of insertion in the supply chain in Dusseldorf. Not enough to affect anyone else at the concentration introduced. Specific enough to be lethal only with the particular compound already present in his system from a supplement he takes daily. A supplement you know about because of the 6 weeks of groundwork laid before you ever set foot in Germany. He dies of what appears to be a rare cardiac interaction. 3 cardiologists review the case. None of them find anything actionable. You are in Lisbon when the third brief arrives. You are sitting in your apartment there, the one 4 layers deep in the legal structure, drinking a glass of Vinho Verde and reading a book about the history of cartography. The maps on the wall of your living room are not decorative. They are part of how you think. You have always understood the world better as a spatial problem than as a social one. The brief is different. Not in complexity, in the name. You read the name twice, then you close the laptop. You walk to the window. Outside, the Tagus is gray and wide. A ferry crossing toward the south bank. A container ship moving slow and enormous toward the sea. The city is built on hills, and it folds down toward the water in a way that looks almost accidental, as if someone kept adding to it without a plan. The name on the brief is someone you know, not personally, adjacently. Someone who appears in the same network maps you are a part of. Someone who, if you followed the chain far enough, might know your name. Not your current name, your original name. This is the moment they always leave out of the stories. The moment when the professional and the personal are not separate things anymore. When the work reaches back far enough to touch something real. You stand at the window for a long time. You pour out the remaining wine. You wash the glass. You dry it and put it back in the cabinet. You do not sleep that night. You sit in a chair and you look at the city, and you think with the cold, systematic clarity you have spent 11 years building, and what you produce at the end of the night is a decision. Not the decision you might expect, not heroism, not refusal, just a calculation. A calculation about exposure and leverage and the specific geometry of your situation. And the calculation produces an output, and the output is a direction, and the direction is not toward the target. It is toward the client. This is the thing about reaching the top. The view is not what you imagined. From down in the levels, the top looks like safety. It looks like control. It looks like the place where the rules no longer apply to you because you have become too valuable, too skilled, too deeply embedded to be disposable. But at the top, what you find is this. The people who use you are also the people who created you. And things that are created can be decommissioned. Things that know too much are not assets held indefinitely. They are debts with an interest rate that climbs every year. You have known this for a while. You have known it the way you know the sound of the radiator or the weight of a specific tool in a specific hand. Abstractly, theoretically. Now it is not theoretical. You spend 4 days preparing. You move money. Not all of it. Enough. The Lisbon apartment, you leave as it is. The Asheville property, you trigger a sale through the LLC, a buyer already identified and waiting. A transaction that will close in 30 days through channels that have been clean for years. You pack one bag, 38 pounds, a carry-on and a personal item. You have learned that everything you actually need fits in 38 pounds, and most things you think you need do not. You buy a train ticket to Porto, not a flight. Trains have less documentation, less biometric checkpoints, less of the infrastructure that turns movement into data. In Porto, you walk through the old city for an hour. The buildings are covered in blue and white tiles. Some of them are crumbling. Some of them are being restored. There is no logic to which ones survive and which ones fall apart, except money and attention, and sometimes just luck. You find a cafe. You order a galão, which is the Portuguese version of a latte, served in a tall glass. You sit outside, even though it is cold, 53 degrees Fahrenheit,